In today's video, we are going to talk about the future, a big I told you so, and a parallel going on in Venezuela to the US. As far as the future goes, we're going to start here. Executive Intelligence Review. This is news you won't hear anywhere else, but I think it illustrates well that as far as the Chinese are concerned, Central America is concerned, the world is concerned, this idea of a wall on our southern border is a joke, and that it's never going to happen, and they are making plans and investing financially into the fact that it's never going to happen. They're planning a high-speed rail that's going to start in Panama, end up going up through Mexico, the US, Canada, Alaska, across the Bering Strait, and into Russia and Asia. High-speed passenger and cargo rail line that China will build from Panama City north to Costa Rican border will transform the nation. Construction beginning in 2022, meaning even with the most rosy of optimist beliefs that the current administration gets reelected, it'll begin construction in the last 2 years of the next administration, meaning that it'll make its way here when someone else takes office. And of course, by that time stops the construction of the wall, if it even has begun, which I don't even think it's going to start being built until, I mean, it's been a year and what, 2 months, and not one shovelful of dirt's moved. Plans are advancing rapidly, he said. Chinese technical experts have visited the country frequently to work on the feasibility study. Potential for increasing trade and economic activity in the region with China's backing. Panama and Costa Rica can work together, she said, to take advantage of the opportunities the U.S. offers? No, the opportunities China offers. A Central American rail line that will connect to Mexico and the United States, extending through North America to the proposed Bering Strait rail tunnel, is an essential feature in the concept. So this is what's being planned. This is what's already in the works. And if they thought there was any kind of hope or an idea that there was going to be this giant impenetrable wall on the U.S. southern border anytime soon, I'm sure this would have factored into their plans. But as far as an I told you so goes, here we see this article about U.S. investors seeking to acquire this Rosneft lean. Now, I had told you guys a long time ago about this company Rosneft that owns 49% of PDVSA, this Venezuelan state-run oil company. The Venezuelan state-run oil company that operates the big tugboats that are 100% necessary for the big U.S. LNG tankers to go through the canal. For the big U.S. LNG tankers to go through the canal, they are absolutely slaved to this Venezuelan company that provides these tugboats. They're the only ones who have the knowledge and the expertise to do it. That's why making enemies of Venezuela is stupid, and the U.S. is starting to realize that. Because what they're saying here, what they're trying to do, is when the U.S. slapped these sanctions, Executive Order Obama and Trump-loving Executive Order 13692, Trump continued it, said it was a good idea. What that did was it prohibited any U.S. investment in Venezuela, anyone issuing debt to anyone in Venezuela, anyone helping out Venezuela financially. This is what caused the collapse of their currency. This is what's caused the shortages down there. It wasn't socialism. It was this executive order. But now, what that's done is that's opened the door for China and Russia to invest. And now, with Rosneft, Russian oil company, holding 49% of PDVSA, this Venezuelan company, they own Citgo. So if the U.S. were to ratchet up sanctions like it's threatening to, and Venezuela defaults, Russia gets 49.9% of Citgo. So what's the U.S. trying to do to avoid this? U.S. investors are trying to buy out the lien from Russia with the backing of the U.S. government, which is basically just an end run around the U.S.'s own sanctions. They're realizing that it's a better idea for the U.S. to invest in Venezuela than to have sanctions. They're just doing it in a way that it doesn't look like they're violating their own sanctions. And it pretty much says that right here. Menendez and Rubio have come out and basically said, just as a matter of common sense, it would be better if those assets were held by American investors than by Rosneft. That's what Rubio and Menendez said. So imagine that. Imagine someone saying that it would be a better idea to allow the U.S. to invest in that region and be an ally of that region than to be the enemy of that region and allow our enemies to control them. It's now coming out. It's very clear how I've said these sanctions were a fool's errand, and now it's already come out of the government. And if you didn't know what was going on down there, you would probably ignore this article. But it's huge, and it's telling, and it's bellwether that the U.S. has realized their sanctions have failed. The video that I showed yesterday, where the people of Venezuela have stood up, independent, liberty-minded, self-determinant, not wanting to rely on the government, making their own communes, making their own currencies, figuring it out how to work together to make their lives what they want them to be. While here, we just label Venezuela as these evil socialists and evil communists, when their country now resembles a lot more like what we thought America would be than America has become. Waiting for a government retirement check, or waiting for a government disability check, or waiting for your food stamps, or waiting for that. There's more socialism here than there is down there. And whenever they decide to hand out money to the people, of course, the U.S. comes out and says, oh, see how they're trying to control the people with debt. And it's crap. It's baloney. We've had socialized medicine here with Medicare and Medicaid since the 60s. Anytime anything goes wrong in your life, what do? Call 911? And call your government savior to come get you? This is what's going on down there. And the U.S. has realized that they've lost and they've failed. And they're trying to find some workaround. Sorry about that. Always. But we'll just move on. This is what I was talking about as far as the U.S. and Venezuela being very close in operating procedure. What's basically being said here is this opposition candidate to Maduro is basically just been put in to divide his opposition so that he wins the next election. Is it really a choice if the government says you can choose A or you can choose B, but no one else matters? See, here it says President Nicolas Maduro is using his main election rival Henry Falcon as an instrument to divide the country's opposition. So what they're basically saying here is just like here in this country when everybody realizes how bad of a choice they made not last November, but I guess the one before. Well, they say, well, it was better than the other choice they gave us, not even realizing there was a third and a fourth choice. But that third and fourth choice, they've already been brainwashed to believe don't exist, or can't ever win, or you don't have that choice. You get to choose candidate A, or you get to choose candidate B. That's a dictatorship. when the government decides that you have candidate A or candidate B, that is a dictatorship. And when anybody comes up as a third option, they use the media to tell you that you can't choose them. Even though in the 92 election, the third candidate that ran pretty much dictated who won that election. That's how Clinton won with 43% of the vote. Third-party candidates matter. And this is what's going on down there. It's an incredible parallel to what's happening in the U.S. So, anyway, I will let you folks go. Executive intelligence review. The plans are already being made. Let's see if we can get that to reload. The U.S. has realized that their sanctions have failed, and they are trying to find a workaround to get U.S. reinvestment in Venezuela. And now with their upcoming election, they are using a U.S. playbook stating that the candidates we're putting up are going to be your only two choices, and any other choice is irrelevant. So, like, share, subscribe. See you next time.